Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Women Wednesday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco, coming to you today live, as we do every day, Monday to Friday, from 12 to 1, from the Question Tequila Studios, high above the financial capital of the world, right across the street from the New York Stock Exchange. And the New York Stock Exchange is in the red today. We gave up that 26,000 number, just dipped under it. It's hovering around there. I think a couple of closes above 26,000, and things will be right on their way to 27,000. Upward, and upward it is for Bitcoin after lagging the last few days, dipping under 8,000. It burst through 8,000, trading now around 8,200, very torrid pace. And if it holds the 8,000s through the end of the week, next week could be a fantastic week for all you Bitcoiners out there. And I want to thank you, crypto audience, for your feedback, for your entries into the ABBC contest, where we're going to give away $25,000 in ABBC coin this Friday. And one person not eligible to win that $25,000, my co-host, my co-executive producer.
Well, this is news to me.
Managing editor of Liquid Lunch, Frank Morano.
Of course, if I did win that $25,000, it would mean that I got paid, which was apparently a violation of the standard business practices.
Trump would start tweeting that it was rigged.
That's right. Big shout out to all of our many Korean entrants into that ABBC coin contest.
That's right.
I mean, thousands upon thousands.
Latin America, Middle America, Texas, Colorado. People are sending in entries from everywhere.
That's right.
And keep them coming. And remember, you have to be following Liquid Lunch TV on either Instagram or Facebook to win.
That's right.
We've been posting the rules. They're out there. ABBC is so excited about doing this and talking to you, our crypto audience. So,
right. Well,
there are the rules. Speaking of rules,
speaking of the Koreas, it is the one-year anniversary today of the summit that President Trump had with Kim Jong-un, and we're a lot closer to peace with North Korea than we were before President Trump came into office, so that's certainly a good thing. It's also a pretty noteworthy anniversary, and that is one of the many items of interest you're about to find out about. Now, want to know what's happening in your nation, in your world, and in your neighborhood? Here's what happened while you slept.
We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder.
Today marks the 25th anniversary of the O.J. Simpson murder case. On June 12, 1994, the former NFL star's ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend waiter Ron Goldman were brutally stabbed to death outside her home in the upscale Los Angeles neighborhood of Brentwood. Police arrested O.J. Simpson on June 17th following a low-speed chase in a white Ford Bronco. Simpson later stood trial and was acquitted of all charges in the double murder. Donald Trump Jr. is meeting with the Senate Intelligence Committee behind closed doors. This is Trump Jr.'s second appearance before the committee in relation to Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report. He's expected to be questioned on 6 topics, including the June 16th meeting at Trump Tower and a proposed Trump Tower project in Moscow. The panel will most likely want to clarify contradictions between his own testimony and other witness statements to the committee and to Robert Mueller. Back in 2017, he told the committee that he was peripherally aware of the Trump Tower Moscow project. It appears a bill that would permanently extend the expiring 9/11 Victims' Compensation Fund has the votes to make its way through Congress. Yesterday, sick 9/11 first responders, as well as advocate and comedian Jon Stewart, were in D.C. to make sure lawmakers are really on their side. The fund is set to expire next year. And finally, the back and forth between Donald Trump and Joe Biden continues after they went after each other in Iowa yesterday. Biden campaigned in 3 cities in eastern Iowa and made clear that he believes Trump is dangerous. Trump returned fire from western Iowa, comparing the former vice president to 2016 Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton.
Nice work, Frank. Covering all the bases.
You have to wonder if it's right that Iowa plays such an outsized role in our presidential elections, both in the primary and the general. I mean, God bless you, those of you that are in Iowa watching, but the country's a bigger place than just Iowa. To think that we have the 2 leading presidential candidates both in Iowa the same day, a place where there are more pigs than people, I don't know.
I'm gonna put that in my fact check for tonight. I don't think that's a good.
Check away.
I don't think that's a good number.
Check
to be
away.
honest with you, but it's crazy that not only our president, if you're in New York, our mayor is also there. But hey, this is the first bellwether. It's good that they're out there. Joe Biden's already fallen in the polls. Pocahontas is moving up a little bit. Pete Buttigieg is doing really good in Iowa, but overall still around the 4 or 5 percentile.
It's very interesting to me to see how so many in the media, even the quote-unquote liberal media, cover the Democratic contest for president. So some candidates they don't mention or cover at all. Candidate like Andrew Yang, the only media coverage he's been able to get has been on podcasts like Joe Rogan.
Yeah. What about
cable
Yang? Why
news
don't we get him
outlets
here?
like that. We're going to get him here.
Note to producer.
Then I'm working on it. And then there are other candidates like Tulsi Gabbard. When she goes on CNN, they'll ask her, they demand to know, why are you an apologist for Bashar al-Assad? Why do you continue to...
Are you a Russian spy?
Right, exactly. Whereas an idea of, that's their questioning of her.
Right.
When Kamala Harris goes on CNN, they'll ask her, oh, what are your 3 favorite songs?
Yes.
You know, I mean, there's such a disparity, not just in who gets covered, but how they get covered. So as we
crazy.
go forward, keep an eye out for that. John, as I mentioned, it's the 25th...
Did they ever ask Kamala if she ever dated a elected politician?
Well, I mean, that's all public record.
I'm just asking if anyone asked her about that. I'm trying to be politically correct here.
I think if we're going to wage the campaign on adulterous relationships, the president is not going to want to participate in that kind of thing.
I'm with you on that.
Now, but I do want to acknowledge that it is the 25th anniversary of the murder of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson, and we have still not gotten much of an update from OJ in his search for the real killers. You remember, after he was acquitted 25 years ago, he indicated that he was going to embark on a search for the real killers, and yet somehow that search for the real killers doesn't seem to be taking off.
No, it doesn't. God bless those who perished, and let's not even talk about OJ. That's what OJ wants.
All right. Well, on to more important issues like Donald Trump Jr., who is right now behind closed doors with the Senate Intelligence Committee for the second time in just recent weeks. They want to ask him, as I mentioned, about the disparity between his testimony and what other people have told both Congress and the Mueller investigators.
How long is this clip?
Well, we don't have a clip because it's behind closed doors.
Okay.
So this is yet another example of government that you're paying for that you don't get to see. You want to know what the Supreme Court's doing today?
I thought I was going to get a nap while we played another John Dean clip.
Donald Trump Jr. can be a pretty exciting guy.
That's
right. Kimberly Guilfoyle certainly finds him exciting. But it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. What we do have video to show is former Daily Show comedian Jon Stewart was out there before a subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee demanding a permanent funding for the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund. This was Jon Stewart in Washington.
Hallelujah.
Flanked by the first responders yesterday.
Amen.
The idea that you can only give them 5 more years of the VCF because you're not quite sure what's going to happen 5 years from now. Well, I can tell you, I'm pretty sure what's going to happen 5 years from now. More of these men and women are going to get sick and they are going to die. And I am awfully tired of hearing that it's a 9/11 New York issue. Al-Qaeda didn't shout death to Tribeca. They attacked America, and these men and women, and their response to it is what brought our country back. It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for, and you are ignoring them.
It is rare that I come down on the same side as Jon Stewart. Creative genius, absolutely amazing entertainer, but very progressive, very liberal, very outspoken on smart issues. And I think the way he comes out is effective, because when he raises his voice, he means it, and you can see that was real and from his heart. And let's not forget about when he says these seats are empty. Just recently, Frankie, you talked about de Blasio missing the 9/11 tribute.
Couldn't
and that's
be bothered.
a presidential
and that's
candidate.
While he was in New York City.
That's right.
De Blasio's missing even when he's here. Because he clearly has other priorities. Instead of being at the 9/11 memorial, he chose to instead go to work out in Park Slope. So we see where his priorities are, and we see where the priorities are of Democratic presidential candidate Eric Swalwell, who couldn't be bothered to show up for that hearing yesterday.
Probably in Iowa.
Well, clearly not doing his job.
With all the other 30 Democratic presidential candidate wannabes.
Well, he was not there for the hearing with Jon Stewart. I'm with you, John. I couldn't agree with you and Jon Stewart more. These are people that were told by our government that the air down here was safe to breathe. But whether they were told that or not, you know more firefighters and cops than anybody.
Hang on, Frank. Let me just tell you where this hits home for me, okay? You know my brother Derek, okay? We both worked virtually at Ground Zero. We were told, we were there on 9/11, we were told shortly thereafter that it was okay to go back there. Derek moved down there. Derek got cancer, as you know, and Dr. Frank caught it early and got saved. But there's people emerging every week, every month, every year, and they're going to continue that are sick from being told it was safe to be down there, especially the first responders who were down there the first day. This thing should go on as long as there's a government that can print money.
And these are folks that would have gone down there even if they knew the risks, by the way. But the fact that they were lied to, and the fact that these men who
they weren't given the proper equipment, they didn't have the proper EPA standards down there. It was a joke. And Americans stepped forward, and the government, which is printing money at will, should pay every single person that legally and logically got sick.
The fact
from
that
this.
these men and women who are sick and dying have to go begging like paupers with their hat in their hand to brown-nosing politicians every 5 years is abominable.
Staten Island's own Max Rose, Congressman, new guy, showing some energy. He's been a big advocate of this. I hope he stays on it. I'm sure he will.
Totally
Hopefully we'll get him on Liquid Lunch.
Peter King's been a leader.
Peter King's on
Alexandria
it.
Ocasio-Cortez.
Even AOC is on it. So when you see a group like that, that's bipartisanship at its best. And Liquid Lunch is going to take a quick break.